Check, test, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, I have it online. Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Check, testing. Huh? Check, 1, 2. You got it? Check, 1, 2. Check. Yeah, okay. Check. Okay. Test. What about now? What about now? Check, 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 check. Right there. Better? Check, 1, 2. Check, check. No? Check, check. Mic 1, 2. Talking. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. What do you guys all say? Mic? Yeah. Now? Okay, I'm on mic now. Check, check. 1, 2. I don't know what's wrong. Down? Testing, 1, 2. Check. Okay, see now, this is what I'm talking about. He's fine. Test, test, test. Yeah, could you go online? Okay, let me talk. Check, 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 test, test. 1, 2, test. Yes, better. 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay, thank you.
If everyone would please take their seats, we're going to get started in 2 minutes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the March meeting of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority Board. Do we have any public speakers, Mr. Morello?
We do, Mr. Chairman. We have 10 speakers signed in this morning, the first of whom is Gene Rushinoff. He'll be followed by George Hikalis. Mr. Rushinoff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and board members and staff. I'm Gene Rushinoff with the Strap Hangers Campaign. With me today, maybe you could have a show of hands, the folks from the Riders Alliance and the Strap Hangers Campaign. And we're here because we're very worried that the funding the governor is providing you for your very vital capital program is inadequate, vague, uncertain. And it's tough to explain what's wrong with the governor's program. But, you know, when you get down to it, it's pretty simple. First of all, it's an IOU in which it says, I, Governor Andrew Cuomo, will give the MTA $7.3 billion to fix up the transit system over the next 4 years under certain circumstances. And if he can play his cards right, he'll never give you any money. The second is that it's under his control, this IOU, and which explains the odd fact that there's no money in the state budget, no new money for the MTA rebuilding program. And then lastly, it's a magical IOU. The governor the law says the governor must, the MTA, before it can take any of this money from the state, it has to exhaust all of its available sources. That's a tough thing to do. You know, it's like in one of those fairy tales. I'll give you the money, but first go pick up a clover, and then some blonde hair, and then a magic potion. Only for you at the MTA, it's like, oh, first go out and spend $100 million, and then buy a big building, 2 big buildings, 3 big buildings, sell them, and then charge your customers $6 billion in new bonding. This is not a good IOU for you or for the public. You can see we once again have spared no expense in developing this visual, you know, the state says we're making an ironclad guarantee that this will happen. There's something to say, but from over here, that ironclad guarantee looks as solid as a diploma from Trump University. Thank you.
Thank you very much. George Hikalis, to be followed by Ryan Carson.
Michael, you can pick that up.
Good morning. My name is George Hikalis. I'm the president of the Institute for Rational Urban Mobility. I wasn't planning to attend today, but after the terrible events yesterday, I really felt I have to come. IRM urges MTA to halt construction of its deep cavern station for the Long Island Railroad East Side Access Project and instead move quickly to advance a plan to link the 63rd Street tunnels to 5 existing platform tracks at Grand Central that lead to the upper level loop. This plan, developed by Delcan, one of Canada's largest engineering firms, would save passengers 3 to 4 minutes of travel time in each direction, would spare MTA the substantial recurring costs of operating and maintaining 47 escalators, and avoids the placing of as many as 8,000 passengers in a deep cavern terminal 151 feet below Park Avenue in the event of a fire or terrorist attack. Using the upper level greatly enhances the value of East Midtown property, some of which is MTA's, compared to the deep cavern. MTA also urges MTA to drop IREM also urges MTA to drop its costly new yard for midday storage of rail cars in Sunnyside, Queens. Reconfiguring the 3 commuter rail lines serving the region into a coordinated regional rail system with frequent service, integrated fares, and through running would greatly increase the value of MTA's real estate holdings in East Midtown and Long Island City. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hakalis. Ryan Carson to be followed by Jordan Woke, or Wouk, I think.
Good morning, all. So my name is Ryan Carson. I'm from NYPIRG, the New York Public Interest Research Group. So Governor Cuomo has promised riders that he would put $7.3 billion towards the MTA's capital program and broke that promise last January when he failed to put any real money into the MTA, for the MTA in the state budget. I can sympathize with the MTA. As a recent college graduate, I've been making monthly payments on a massive amount of personal debt, $40,000 actually. As a rider who acknowledges the essential nature of public transit in the city, I'm incensed. This broken promise affects service that consistently makes me late for work and social engagements. This lack of timely commitments to funding forecasts more of the same. Further, I have never been offered the ability to opt out of the money that I have promised to others. If I were to call on my student loan officer to inform her that I would not be paying my loan for the foreseeable future, I could wreck my credit, putting my future in jeopardy. This is all to say that, as far as I'm concerned, the governor has tanked his own credit in my eyes by failing to make good on his promise. For this reason, I call on the governor and the legislature to fund the MTA capital program with real money now. Why is the governor being allowed to cover his commitment to the MTA's capital program with an IOU? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jordan Woke to be followed by Chelsea Yamada.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Hakim, members of the board, and members of the press. As some of you may recall, I spoke last month asking about the assumptions being made to the rise of sea level over the design life of Phase 2 of the 2nd Avenue subway. After the meeting, I was sent New York City Transit's Flood Resilience Design Guideline. Section 2 addresses flood level. It begins with a federally established baseline and adds 1 foot to account for future sea level rise. I argue that adding only 1 foot for sea level rise over the next 100 plus years is much too low. Also, the federal baseline itself is based on FEMA maps. What many people do not know is that by law, FEMA is retrospective. There's even an FAQ on FEMA's website. In accordance with the current Code of Federal Regulations, FEMA does not map flood hazards based on anticipated future levels or climate change. Unless there are additional requirements from New York City Transit, Phase 2 of the subway will assume only 1 foot rise in sea level between now and 2125. Please note, this same 1 foot guideline applies to all critical systems located above and below ground. I ask that members of the board and the press pursue this with NYCT. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woke. Chelsea Yamada will be followed by McCartney Morris.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, hi. My name is Chelsea. I'm a New York City resident, and I grew up here. How many of you are New Yorkers born and bred? Okay. How many of you ride the subway or bus? Okay, so some of you. I do. We do. It's important to us. We went up to Albany to inquire from our assembly people. I don't know how many of you deal with the assembly members, state senators. I'm not sure that they would know that most New Yorkers don't know that the MTA is a state funded authority, and we're ready to learn. Albany was successful. I'm sure you know, it's super fun, and they're really receptive to all of our asks. I hope we can work together. How can we work together? How can New Yorkers and the MTA work together to get more funding. Thank you so much for hearing me out.
Thank you very much. McCartney Morris will be followed by Talani Adeboye.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. Thank you for your time. My name is McCartney Morris. I'm a Queens resident and a Riders Alliance member. I use the subway daily, the NQ line between my home in Astoria and my work in Midtown Manhattan. The extreme overcrowding on this line is worse than just not being able to get a seat. Waiting for trains that are too delayed or too infrequent, we transit riders are squeezed onto platforms that are too small, or too narrow, placing our bodies at risk for injury or even death. You can read about more problems that Astoria and Queens and all commuters face. Fellow Riders Alliance member and Queens resident in a recent latest Times Ledger has an op-ed titled, "Tired of Playing Subway Twister." I urge you to read that to take a look at more detail of the problems that we commuters face. The system is literally falling apart, and people are going to get hurt unless we take action. The first step is a fully funded MTA capital plan. We just did a demonstration for members of the media downstairs at Bowling Green Station trying to pay for our subway with an IOU. The machine wouldn't take it, the agent wouldn't take it, and the turnstile wouldn't take it. If I can't use an IOU, Governor Cuomo shouldn't either. I urge you to hold him accountable, particularly those of you that are his appointees. Call him up and say, we demand you fully fund this MTA capital plan. I urge you to loudly demand that all members in Albany, the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor fully fund this plan. And not next year, not 2 years from now, and not whenever the account runs to zero, but right now, in this budget. People of New York are asking and waiting for your help, and I hope that you do. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Talani Adeboye, to be followed by Zachary Archidiakono.
Good morning, Board. My name is Talani Adeboye. I'm a resident of Bedford-Stuyvesant, a city employee, and a resident of the city for 9 years. When I moved here in 2007, a monthly Metro card cost about $76. Now I'm paying over $116 a month for an unlimited monthly ride. With that kind of increase, you would expect I'd also be experiencing increased service, better safety, more transparency, but none of that has occurred. What did happen recently, which was so encouraging though, was the idea that we were going to have a fully funded MTA capital plan that was going to bring some of the transformations that New York City riders deserve, like newer subway cars, better bus service, more frequency on lines that are getting overburdened and more crowded every day. But that victory has felt very short-lived with the governor's announcement that he's putting $0.00 into actual dedicated money for that capital plan in the budget proposal. That's unacceptable. As a Riders Alliance member, as a community member, as a New Yorker who needs to get to work every day, get around, who completely relies on our public transportation system for my transportation needs, I'm dissatisfied and unaccepting of the idea that the governor can pull this switch game on us, promise us a fully funded capital plan, and then run off into the distance without leaving any money on the table. I join my fellow Riders Alliance members and community organizers who are coming here, taking time out of our day to speak to you today, to hold the governor accountable along with us for making sure this capital plan gets fully funded with real money today, so that all of us can begin to see the benefits we deserve in a high-functioning 21st century real transit system for now and into the future. As New Yorkers, we deserve it, and we need it to grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adeboye. Zachary Archidiakono. He'll be followed by Samuel Santaella.
Good morning. My name is Zachary Archidiakono, and I live in Long Island City, Queens. I commute to downtown Manhattan on the 7 and the 4-5. Off-peak hours, except during necessary track work, of course, the service is fast and efficient. But too often during the rush hours, it is uncomfortably crowded and train traffic slows to a crawl due to congestion. We need to keep important capital projects like the 2nd Avenue subway that will ease congestion on the east side and improvements that will add capacity from rapidly developing areas of Queens on time and on budget, both to ease the commutes of working New Yorkers and ensure the future of New York City and state well into the 21st century. Governor Cuomo rightly understood the importance of a well-funded MTA to the future of New York when he pledged $8.3 billion to the capital plan and pressured the city to step up its contribution. It is disappointing, to say the least, that this commitment could amount to a mere IOU and may be backed by state debt, which can only hurt the affordability of fares for working New Yorkers and doesn't bode well for the future of our transit system. My rent is due on the first of the month, and I don't have the luxury of telling my landlord to exhaust all available funding sources before it becomes due and payable. Likewise, Governor Cuomo needs to do the right thing and live up to his word and fulfill his commitment to fully fund the MTA capital plan on day one of the state budget and not postpone it into an ever-receding future. New York will be better for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Samuel Santayer. And he'll be followed by our last speaker, Robert Feldman.
Good morning. I'm a Writers Alliance member, and I'm from St. Albans, Queens. Every day I take my little sister to and from school, taking 2 buses and 1 train. The Q83, the J train, and the 55. Takes us an hour and 20 minutes to get there on a good day. The reality is there is no more direct route, and we face overcrowding on the trains and especially the buses. The Q55 suffers from Woodhaven Boulevard gridlock and more traffic over to the west in Ridgewood. I also need to count on trains that actually work on the J line. My little sister risks missing some of her school day because of the delays that can happen on any single part of the trip. The truth is, I've been getting her to school sometimes in excess of 20 minutes. This is not good for my little sister's participation grades, not to mention the difficulties we face commuting during extreme weather. The truth is, none of these problems can be addressed without a fully funded capital plan. In the same way that my family has to pay upfront for our costs, Governor Cuomo should not give us an IOU, a promise to pay at some unknown point in the future. We need to see real investments in public transit in this year's budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our final speaker is Robert Feldman.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank the board for graciously having us here and listening to our comments. I've lived in this city for 20 years. I grew up in Brooklyn. And like countless other New Yorkers and commuters, I rely on the transit system. I remember the W train. I remember tokens. I remember when the fares were $1.25. I remember when they tried to phase out the student Metro cards. I even remember as a teenager having to pay a $100 fine for trying to keep $2.25 in my pocket for lunch. We've endured fare hikes, delays, service changes, and raticide of watermelons with the dignity and grit of true New Yorkers. I've paid my dues. So how can Cuomo justify paying for the transit system with an IOU? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murillo.
Sorry. Mr. Speaker.
I'd like to begin today by expressing my deep sadness and that of the board and the condolences to the people of Belgium and to the victims of the attacks that occurred there yesterday. This incident serves as a stark reminder that we must continue to be vigilant, continue to be alert to the possibility of a terrorist attack on our own system and network. It also reminds us that it is more important than ever for all of us to work together to keep each one of us safe. The idea of a central component of our See Something, Say Something campaign, which we relaunched on Monday. We've also made a video to promote this new campaign, and if you haven't yet, I'd encourage you to watch it online at MTA Info. Our new campaign incorporates real stories from real New Yorkers who have reported suspicious packages or activities, and we've added a tagline: New Yorkers keep New Yorkers safe. That really resonates with me because it's so true. We all have such a crucial role to play in keeping New York safe and secure. I would like to next briefly discuss an issue that came up at this month's Transit Committee meeting, and that's the 34th Street Hudson Yard Station. Those of you who basically heard the dialogue from board members and comments and concerns about a newspaper article, I share those concerns. For those of you who were not at the Capital Program Oversight Committee and didn't hear me commit that I was going to direct the independent engineer to do a review of the design of that station, its construction, and the construction management processes, I'm making that statement today. I've asked them to do that as expeditiously as possible, hopefully within 30 days, but no longer than 60 days. And I will report back to you the findings of that work. It's essential that we let the world know that conditions like that are unacceptable for a project of that significance and that import to the City of New York. It's also important for us to determine what happened so that we can prevent a recurrence, not only from a standpoint of the conditions that were experienced, but the flow of information we need to keep to the board so that you can stay on top of these issues. The minutes of the February meeting have been distributed to all members. Are there any comments or questions?
Move acceptance.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Committee on Finance, I'll give that report. There's one action item this month. This action requires the board to approve the annual MTA all-agency procurement report for the period January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015, as required by Section 2879 of the Public Authorities Law. The committee recommends this action, and I move it. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. There are 4 procurement actions this month in the total amount of $32.8 million. There are no non-competitive procurements. There are 4 competitive procurements totaling $32.8 million. The committee recommends these procurements, and I move them. Any comments or questions? Mr. Ballin?
Tom, just the same 2 abstentions that I had at
Finance?
Please, yeah,
Okay.
real estate.
Any other abstentions?
The real estate actions?
No.
No.
These are procurements.
Yeah, so I'm a teeny bit ahead of myself.
Okay.
I don't want to be too late.
Mr. Merdler? Please speak into the mic, so.
I note my abstention with respect to the Siemens matter.
Okay, we have a vote on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Aye. There are no ratifications. Before I present the March real estate items, I want to update the board on our overall discussions with the city with respect to the agreement to the leased buildings on Madison Avenue. The discussions are ongoing, as I said, at Finance. I have personally talked with the Deputy Mayor about the significance of this transaction and reinforced its importance to the capital program, and we remain committed jointly to resolving that issue and bringing it forward to the board. There are 6 real estate action items that are described on pages 42 through 60 in the board book distributed for the meeting. The committee recommends these real estate items, and I move them.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Please recuse myself on the items involving 370 J Street.
So noted. You have 2 recusals. Mr. Ballin? So noted. Any further comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Transit Committee report we provided by Mr. Ferrer.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chairman. The Transit and Bus Committee met on Monday and reports the following. There is one action item for board approval. The action item to be recommended is the adoption of the MTA Bus Company proposed rules of conduct presented on pages 61 through 79 of the board book. The committee recommends this action item, and I move it.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye. There are 18 procurement actions this month in the total amount of $146.1 million. There are 3 non-competitive procurements for New York City Transit on pages 84 through 87 of the board book for $28.1 million. The committee recommends these procurements, and I move them.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye. There are 13 competitive procurements for New York City Transit on pages 88 through 106 of the board book in a total amount of $113.8 million. The committee recommends these procurements, and I move them.
Any comments or questions? Mr. Kay?
I know I should have asked this question during committee, and I apologize for taking the board's time. Do any of these procurements rely on capital funding for the plan that's not currently approved by CPRB in Albany?
I don't think so.
Ms. Hakem?
for award, they're indicated which ones rely on the approval of the capital program.
And will they be coming back to us if and when a capital plan ever gets approved?
The award of the RFPs that are sought for an authorizing resolution would come back to you. I'm just looking quickly to see if there are any others.
I don't know if Mr. Pochaki is here, but maybe Ronnie can answer it anyway. The approval that was sought was the approval to use the RFP process
I'm aware-
to do these.
Right, that's why I got
And then we come back at the time of recommended award, is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
So we're not approving any project right now that counts on funding.
That's correct. You're
The
only,
only thing we're approving, the only thing we're asking the board to approve is to utilize the RFP process and negotiated procurement for these contracts.
that's
Not
correct.
the award in and of itself.
And we'll be coming back with any award recommendation to the board.
Okay.
Which we could not do until we have an approved program.
Thank you. I guess I'd just like to make a general comment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I understand that we need to continue acting and acting in a way so we are ready. At some point, projects will not be going forward, presumably. At some point, we're going to be either using our own money, or I guess we can't do that till CPRB actually approves something. And I think it's something, we're now at the end of March, and we've been talking about this capital plan for 6 months. And I know we heard a lot of speakers today discussing it, and Albany's now working on a budget. And I just want to lend my voice to suggest that I really do hope that Albany comes to terms, passes our capital program review board package that we sent up, and hopefully there really is money we can point to. I may leave it to you, Mr. Chairman, and Bob Ferran and those talking to our the bankers and others to make sure that we have what we need in order to do this appropriately. But now is the time as ever. We've been talking for months. There were a lot of conversations in the press 6 months ago, 8 months ago. Now's the time. So thank you for a few minutes. I couldn't think of a more appropriate time to say it.
Points well taken. The discussions are ongoing. We're involved in those discussions. They are part of the discussions. And irrespective of what happens with the full funding, there are some aspects of where we're at with this program are not different than the last, in the sense that the last time we had a 5-year program approved, we had funding certain for 2 years, had to go back for 3. There are funding certain that we have with this program, if and when it's approved, that we can start to spend against. And you've articulated it very well in the sense that we want to be in a position where we have the appropriate approvals in place so that we're not holding up on anything and stopping ourselves, so that once the approval comes in, we can go forward with these procurements, because it's important not only for our system, but for the people in the state of New York who benefit from our program, from the goods and services they provide to us. So, but thank you very much. Mr. Merdler?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to note that before any action on funding can take place, it is the legislature which must act. And I think people ought to remember that point rather than focusing in a singular fashion. Thank you.
No, so we have up now. I think we any more further comment? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And finally, Mr. Chairman, there are 2 ratifications in the amount of $4.2 million. One for New York City Transit, which is on page 108 of the board book for $180,000, and one for MTA Capital Construction, which is on page 110 for $4 million. The committee recommends these ratifications, and I move them.
Second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye. And that concludes the Transit and Bus Committee report.
The Long Island Railroad Committee, Metro North Committee, Susan Metzger.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chairman. The Metro North Railroad Committee met this month and reports the following. There are 6 procurement items in the total amount of $10.2 million. There is 1 non-competitive procurement in the amount of $123,000. The committee recommends these procurement items, and I move them.
Second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
There are 5 competitive procurements in the amount of $10.1 million. The committee recommends this procurement, and I move them.
Second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
There are no ratifications, and this concludes the Metro North Railroad Committee report for the month.
Thank you, Ms. Metzger. The Long Island Railroad Committee report, Mr. Pally.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. The Long Island Railroad Committee met this month, and I report the following. There are 5 procurement items in the total amount of $470,000. There is one non-competitive procurement for the Long Island Railroad in the amount of $419,000. The committee recommends this procurement, and I move it.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye. There are three RFP procurements for the Long Island Railroad. The committee recommends these procurements, and I move them.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
There is one ratification for the Long Island Railroad in the total amount of $50,000. The committee recommends this ratification, and I move it.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
And this concludes the report of the Long Island Railroad Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Capelli. Mr. Capelli, the Bridges and Tunnels report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Bridges and Tunnels Committee met this month and report the following. There are 6 procurement actions this month in the amount of $194.052 million. There are no non-competitive procurements. There are 6 competitive procurements in the amount of $194.052 million. The committee members who were present at the committee meeting considered and voted in favor of the action items, although a quorum was not present for a vote. I move the board approve these procurement items.
Second.
Any comments or questions on any of the items? All in favor?
Aye. There are no ratifications, and this concludes Bridges and Tunnels Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Capelli. Now may I have a motion to convene an executive session to discuss a matter relating to collective bargaining pursuant to Section 105, Subset 1, Subset E of the New York State Public Officers Law. All in favor? Aye. So moved. We'll go to the conference room next door. Come back. Thank you. We're now reconvening the board meeting. We took a vote on a collective bargaining agreement in there. I'm now have a motion to adjourn the formal board meeting. Seconded. Meeting adjourned. Should have said all in favor, but I think I knew the answer.
Yeah, okay.
Check 1, 2.
You don't look like Daryl Eric.
Morning, Tom.
Morning.
At the committee meeting on Monday, President Nowakowski talked about a plan to install cameras at LAR grade crossings where there's other work going on there, but noted that at the moment there's no ability to issue fines or tickets. So could you talk a bit about what your understanding would be about what the point of those cameras would be? Is it a matter of waiting until there's legislation where you could issue tickets? Would you be in favor, as some board members suggested, of sending out warnings to drivers, that kind of thing?
In a general sense, yes to all the above. The issue of grade crossing cameras is something that dates back to my time at Long Island Railroad. I believe we introduced legislation. I was president from '94 to 2000. Clearly, in terms of being able to reconstruct an incident once it happens, it's good to be able to have a camera. To influence behavior of people from a standpoint of calling them on actions they shouldn't be taking, even before you get to the point of issuing fines and punishments. But all of the above in answer to your question. The issue of what needs to be done at a grade crossing and what actions people can take and behaviors they can have, whether it's our own employees, whether it's the public at large or motorists, are something that I think we're all aware of, but Valhalla put that in a much clearer focus for us. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I was president of the Transit Authority. The project wasn't reported on at CPOC until later for a variety of different reasons. When you have reports on projects, they vary from minor problems with delays, have to do with construction problems, have to do with testing and commissioning, and I'm trying to go back through. And I remember hearing of water problems, but that's not that uncommon with tunnel construction. It's not that uncommon with existing tunnels we have in the system. So, but what I knew and remembered as both the president of Transit and now as the chairman and CEO could be distinctly different from what other board members remember. And it's important for me as the CEO and as the chairman to give them the information they need to be able to keep track of it. So that's the only distinction I would make.
The Hudson Yard station is just one of probably hundreds of stations that are leaking water. It's really hard to go through an underground subway station and not see pools of water. How does the MTA combat that? Should it combat it? Is water a problem in subway stations?
Water is a problem in any subgrade structure. I think one of the board members commented on that during the Transit Committee meeting. It's been around. That's why you have sump pumps in basements of houses. You collect water at a certain location, you pump it out, and you put it in the sewer. So it's a problem that we have. I think the focus here has to be on is what can we do with the latest state-of-the-art technologies and construction techniques to try to mitigate that. So that's the general answer to the question. But we pump out millions of gallons of water out of the system on a daily basis. When I first came to this organization in 1982, Flatbush Water Company stopped actually pumping water off, and they put themselves on the city sewer. And I can't remember the name of the station, but we were pumping out 800,000 gallons of water a day because the water table had risen. So water is an issue that subway structures have to deal with on a daily basis.
Well, on the 7 train extension, isn't this the state of the art? Shouldn't it not be leaking?
Well, that's why I've asked the independent engineer to do that review. That's exactly right. We did a number of things in terms of utilizing the latest state-of-the-art technologies, but we still have leaks. So that's why I've asked the independent engineer to take a look at that from a standpoint of the original design, how was it constructed, and the construction management overseeing that to make sure that all those issues of import were being dealt with.
Would anything apply to 2nd Avenue subway work?
Well, any construction work. So we're concerned about any kind of water anywhere in the system, even on the track bed. Yes, and so if for going forward purposes, we need to learn from this in terms of was there anything done wrong or not done, error of omission, that led to the condition developing as fast as it did.
So is there anything that you guys are going to do immediately before the investigation completes in terms of like maybe not using Yonkers or halting any sort of construction until you figure out what the problem is?
There's a point past which I won't go. I tried to answer a question from a reporter the other day, and it had to do with, what do we know now and what action we're going to take. 10 years of my career was spent in safety, where a large portion of your time is spent investigating incidents. And investigating incidents, you try not to be judgmental about what occurred until you've established the fact line, you know exactly what occurred, and then you have deliberations and you have findings and conclusions and make recommendations from that point. I want to be able to have the benefit, as do the board members, of this independent engineer review. So there's a whole host of actions that we could and would be taking, but it would be inappropriate for me to comment on those now in advance of that report being done.
So it's been about 1.5 years since the MTA passed its original version of the current capital plan. At this point, could you give us some specific examples of projects that have been delayed by this standoff or inability to get the program funded and passed through the CPRB, and sort of, walk us through what some of those specific projects are that have been delayed, what concerns you have, what concerns you most, and then also sort of what's coming up in the next few months that could be delayed even further if the issue is not resolved in Albany and through the dialogues that you're engaging in.
We approved the first capital program submittal in September of 2014.
Right.
That was revised, I believe, in October of 2015. So those are two dates. I don't know off the top of my head all the specific projects, but we have prioritized those projects that needed to move forward, that absent approval of a capital program would significantly limit our ability to do what we needed to do. The most visible one that comes to mind right now is the awarding of a major East Side Access contract that we did in January. So we've prioritized that to try to stretch the available funds we have right now and continue to make awards and not hold up. I'd have to do and ask staff to do a detailed review of if there's any others. I can't remember them off the top of my head, though.
But is there one, major state of good repair project that's maybe more mundane, not, related to a large expansion project that has been put off or delayed because the money's not there? And I guess the broader question is, at what point, can the MTA no longer sort of move money around and take these incremental steps for procurements, like you're doing with CM 007 for East Side Access, or the R211s and all that, and at what point do you sort of quote unquote run out of money? And that's too simplistic, but
June 30th of this year. That's when we run out of money. June 30th of this year, absent the approval of a 15 through 19 capital plan.
And what would that actually mean when you quote unquote run out of money for capital?
We can't make new awards. That's what it means. Can't make new awards for projects that are in the 15 through 19 plan. For prior approved plans where we have money, we can make those awards. But for new plans, we can't make those awards. Correct. Right. So we can advertise. We can start the procurement process. We try to keep like one of the questions raised about the actions being taken about deciding to go through a negotiated or RFP process. So we keep the ball moving up the field.
Why is it June 30th, and do you expect, with whatever's going on in Albany right now, to have an approval from the CPRB in the next month, before the next board meeting?
It's June 30th because that's as far as we can stretch the money. There is a budget process, and this particular governor and this legislature has had on-time budgets, so we'll know something by April 1st. That's like 12 days away. So that's the significance of the two. They're part of the dialogue. The capital program is part of the dialogue.
Thanks. So you said that you had to prioritize some projects, and one of the most visible ones was awarding a contract for East Side Access. That's an expansion project. So if you're prioritizing, what state of good repair work is falling behind? And if you can provide specifics, that'd be great.
Well, the state of good repair issue, certainly issues of safety that need to be dealt with are being dealt with. And you can deal with that in the capital program or expend operating dollars to do that. So let me rest assured everyone that those issues are being dealt with. There is nothing laying fallow not being dealt with on that front. I can give you a detailed summary later. Like I said, I don't have it off the top of my head.
From the comments that the advocates made today to the comments that your board member, Mr. Kay, made, this capital plan has been going on a while. Like you said, the original plan was first floated in September 2014. Is this wearing on you at all?
I think for anyone who has responsibility at a board member, at an executive member, or a management or, hourly employee member, the importance of the capital program couldn't be underscored more. So you're not there until you're there. You're not there until you cross the goal line. You're not there until you have a program. So is it wearing on you? Yes, but I'm confident we'll get there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You compare us to any other place in the United States for the size of the asset, for the importance of the capital program. You can compare us to anybody. We get it done. We collectively get it done. That's the legislature. That's the advocacy groups. That's the people who work here. And the importance of a $26 billion capital program, I think everybody knows.
Just in light of Brussels, we've seen some ramped up efforts from NYPD. Could you run down some of the things that the state is doing? And in light of what happened yesterday, is there more that the state can do? Did you have any additional conversations because of yesterday?
It goes without saying that the vigilance is there even absent incidents like yesterday. But the continued occurrence of those incidents, as painful as they may be, reinforces and underscores the importance of that vigilance always being cranked up. So that's one point that you will hear common throughout all of law enforcement and people that are responsible for security of mass transportation systems. So the increased presence, the increased monitoring of intelligence, the close coordination between all the parties, and we have a lot of excellent parties here in terms of the Counterterrorism Task Force, the New York City Police Department, the state police, and that vigilance is there. And I also will go back to underscoring the campaign. Our latest version of the See Something, Say Something, New Yorkers taking care and keeping other New Yorkers safe. If you see something that seems out of sort, you see something that may look unusual, whether it's the behavior of somebody wearing a black glove on one hand, nothing on the other, any of those types of things, report it to someone who can process that information and decide whether or not it's critical enough to take an action. Don't assume that, oh, maybe I'm over-reporting and bother somebody. Make that report.
It's not a great question, but the board attendance seems to be light today. 13 or 14 board members, including yourself here, out of, what, 20 or 22 total. Is that a concern, and why are there so many absentees at the big monthly board meeting?
The board meeting attendance varies. I mean, sometimes it's due to holidays, sometimes it's due to other priorities that the board members have. So I didn't notice anything in particular in terms of, being much lower today. And they're treating all these issues very seriously.
So it's not a concern?
No, it's not a concern. Thank you.